splits apart. As the tearing happens, we get volcanism as well.
So I'm going to do a revisit of the Permian extinction part. So if you guys are OG fans of this channel, I used to do a little series. We talked about the entire Earth's history from 4.6 to now. So let's talk about the Permian extinction in a little bit more detail and a little bit more context. So the Permian extinction happened about 252 million years ago, and this is a long period which spanned in about 3 million years at least. This is the most violent, turbulent part of history of Earth, where Earth was so close to not having life, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for what happened during the Permian extinction. So what did happen to that point where Earth almost became uninhabitable? So the Permian extinction of 250 million years ago was started in a place where present-day Siberia is. And this is a very geologically active area. And remember, this is the time where the evolution of Earth's interior was also becoming violent too, building up so much pressure due to all that changing of the plates, and just the convection was changed a lot, building up so much pressure to the point where the only way to escape is to crack through the Earth's crust, creating these, these fault lines, creating just these big giant fissures and cracks, that spew so much of that magma. But also this is a very active, volcanically active area too. All these volcanoes are spewing so much, gases like CO2, methane, water vapor, sulfur. Also to the point where it changed the environment itself, just the atmosphere too. The atmospheric composition stripped out a lot of that oxygen, but replaced it with all these nasty gases, creating, acid rain, because all these little water droplets, we are just changing their chemical bonds and reactions due to all these choking gases that nearly wiped out the planet by trapping in so much heat. That it created acid rain. It created rains of sulfur dioxide, which what rains on Venus is sulfuric acid. So that's what was raining for the last 2 million years of the Permian extinction. So anything that was, living off on the land at the time was instantly vaporized due to just the magma, but also the acid rain. Any plant life that existed during that period was instantly vaporized too. But also, this also changed the composition of the oceans as well. It made the oceans very acidic, to the point where, due to the chemical reactions, this created abundance of algae that took in a lot of that, but turned the hue of the oceans into a magenta. And this is also due to all that methane bubbles that were spewing out through the cracks underwater. But all this methane just spread out and just created a layer of methane on these rivers, lakes, and oceans that just destroyed the plant life, destroyed the early fish, destroyed everything in the ocean as well. So remember, 95% of everything was wiped out, not just on land, but also in the oceans too. So this is the time when Earth was so close to being uninhabitable. So what happened to the other 5%? Well, the other 5%, all these little critters had to adapt to the changing environment itself. So they had to collect enough food. There wasn't anything available, really. So the only thing they had to do is just live underground. Well, it was probably hard to live underground when everything on the surface was just instantly just dying and vaporizing and all this violence. So it was a hard period of time for the last 3 million years. But like the other 5% just managed somehow to just adapt and learn how to survive that changing environment and just the changing of the geologic patterns that Earth was facing during that 3 million years. So yeah,